A Zephyrian War Council convened in their crystal chamber, high above the burning remains of Outpost 7. Commander Veltar's chitinous plates clicked nervously as he reviewed the battle reports streaming across holographic displays. 3 standard cycles of warfare against the humans, and still no decisive victory. The mammals continue to resist, hissed General Crixen, his serpentine form coiled around the central command pillar. Their technology is inferior. Their ships are slower. Their weapons lack our precision, yet they persist. Captain Thelos, the youngest member of the council, shifted his crystalline wings. Perhaps we underestimate them, General. The reports from the frontier battles suggest... Suggest what? Veltar's compound eyes focused on the junior officer. That these soft-skinned bipeds pose a real threat to the Zephyrian Empire. Impossible. The chamber fell silent as a priority transmission crackled through their communications array. The image of Scout Leader Nixara appeared, her usually pristine blue carapace scorched and cracked. Commander, I'm transmitting from the ruins of Colony Station Theta. You need to see this. The main display shifted to show grainy footage from a battlefield scanner. Through smoke and debris, a lone figure moved across the devastated landscape. Human. Male. Wearing the standard-issue combat armor of the Terran Defense Force, though most of it had been burned away or shattered. This recording was taken during our assault on their munitions depot. Nixara continued. Watch carefully. The human soldier approached a massive fire that blocked his path to the depot's emergency controls. Plasma charges had ignited the fuel reserves, creating a wall of flame that reached nearly 10 meters high. The Zephyrian forces had expected this barrier to stop any rescue attempt. Instead, the human paused for only a moment, checked his remaining equipment, and walked directly into the inferno. Impossible, breathed Thelos. Our analysis shows those flames exceed 1,200 degrees. No organic matter can survive that temperature. But the human emerged on the other side, his armor completely destroyed, his skin blackened and blistered, yet still moving with purpose. He reached the control panel and began the evacuation sequence for the trapped civilians below. He should be dead, Crixen said flatly. According to every biological model we have, he should have collapsed before taking 5 steps into that fire. Veltar leaned forward, studying the footage frame by frame. Continue the recording, Scout Leader. The human completed his task and turned back toward the flames. Instead of seeking another route, he walked through the fire again. This time, Zephyrian soldiers were waiting on the other side with plasma weapons raised. They fired in unison, confident their superior technology would end the threat. The plasma bolt struck the human center mass. He staggered, fell to one knee, then slowly stood up. Burned, wounded, barely conscious, but still advancing toward their position. Our weapons, Crixon whispered. Why aren't our weapons stopping him? The human picked up a piece of twisted metal debris and hurled it with such force that it shattered the energy shield protecting the Zephyrian squad leader. Then he charged. Retreat was called at this point, Nixara reported. 3 of our best soldiers fled from one dying human. I was among them. Veltar terminated the transmission and sat in contemplative silence. Around him, the War Council struggled to process what they had witnessed. Perhaps, Thelos ventured, their weakness is actually their strength. Explain, demanded Crixon. We Zephyrians are logical, efficient. We calculate odds, assess risks, make rational decisions. When our probability models say retreat, we retreat. When they say a task is impossible, we abandon it. Thelos gestured toward the now blank display. But humans, they don't seem to accept impossibility. Veltar accessed his personal files and pulled up psychological profiles of captured human soldiers. The interviews all contain similar patterns. They speak of concepts we struggle to translate: duty beyond reason, fighting for something greater than survival, refusing to abandon others regardless of personal cost. Irrational behavior, Crixen dismissed. Is it? Veltar challenged. We've been fighting this war for 3 cycles. Our technology is superior, our tactics refined through millennia of conquest. Yet we cannot break them. Every time we corner human forces, every time victory seems assured, they perform acts like this. He gestured toward the display. They walk through fire. They charge plasma weapons with improvised clubs. They refuse to surrender even when logic dictates defeat. The chamber fell quiet except for the distant rumble of ongoing battles across the planet's surface. I've been analyzing human military history, Thelos continued. They have a term, Pyrrhic victory. It describes winning a battle but at such cost that the victory becomes meaningless. We've achieved dozens of Pyrrhic victories against humanity. And they've turned every defeat into something else entirely, Veltar realized. They call them moral victories. Success measured not by territory gained or enemies destroyed, but by how long they resisted, how many of their own they saved, how much damage they inflicted despite impossible odds. Crixan's serpentine form uncoiled slowly. You're suggesting we cannot defeat an enemy that doesn't recognize defeat? I'm suggesting, Veltar said carefully, that we may have encountered something unprecedented in our conquest of the galaxy. A species that becomes more dangerous when cornered, not less. A people who view survival itself as secondary to their abstract concepts of honor, duty, and protection of others. The War Council sat in stunned silence as the implications settled over them. In 3,000 years of expansion, the Zephyrian Empire had conquered 400 worlds. They had faced energy beings, hive minds, technologically advanced civilizations, and primitive tribal societies. But they had never encountered a species that would walk through fire simply because someone needed them to. Recommendations? Veltar asked finally. We could glass their worlds from orbit, suggested Crixan half-heartedly, and leave the galaxy wondering what species was so dangerous that the mighty Zephyrian Empire had to resort to planetary annihilation. Thelos shook his head. Besides, they've proven capable of fighting even in the vacuum of space when their ships are destroyed. Veltar made his decision. Prepare a diplomatic envoy. Perhaps it's time we learned what humans fight for, rather than simply trying to stop them from fighting. As the War Council dispersed, none of them noticed the small recording device hidden in the chamber's quantum resonance field. The human intelligence operative who had placed it there smiled grimly as she transmitted the data back to Earth Command. Sometimes the greatest victory was simply making your enemy realize they couldn't win.